Hey there, Hanna-Barbera and Space Ghost fans. This is Wesatron. Today we're going to be taking a look at Jazwares' Space Ghost with Blip action figure from their Hanna-Barbera line. This line has been sort of all-encompassing for Hanna-Barbera figures. They've got a lot of different characters from different lines. On the back of the package here, it actually shows you some of those. Tom and Jerry, the Flintstones, Hong Kong Phooey, Space Ghost, Huckleberry Hound. A lot of the characters up here in the background. Unfortunately, it doesn't show you any of the cross-sells. It makes the back of the package really sort of bland. I really wish that they gave you a look at what else was available. I mean, if you're buying one Hanna-Barbera figure, odds are you like a lot of the Hanna-Barbera characters. So I would have liked to have seen a lot more people out there. It'll be really cool if they actually ever do a Blue Falcon, which they could really do with a lot of parts from this guy. At least the arms and legs and stuff, or parts of the arms. But pretty cool packaging, actually, like very retro. They got this like kind of a big kind of swervy flourish here on the side, very neat. It doesn't go like straight corner here, it's like actually kind of loops over. It's really like organic looking, very cool. They went with like a green background. I probably would have gone a little more yellow. For some reason I always think of that for Hanna-Barbera, but you know, it's still cool. Little Jazwares logo here on the bottom, various crap. Here you can see a Blip up here in the corner. Space Ghost. No frills with the like how he's placed in there. No like real chance for warpage or anything, which I think is definitely good. This figure I got from Amazon for about $10. I have not spotted him in my local stores yet, so I was thrilled to actually see him drop in price because he had been like something like 40 or 50 bucks or something. And I was like, hell, I ain't paying that. So very excited to have this guy. Let's get him out of package and see what he's like. So here's Space Ghost out of packaging and just kind of a generic action pose. Nothing special. This guy is interesting. I'm still kind of making up my mind about this guy. So, first of all, let's take a quick look at Blip here. Very nice job on Blip, honestly. You know, basic, cool. They didn't, like, go all out with the paint, but the paint is solid. Like, you know, not a lot of terrible bleed, you know, about what you expect from Jazwares, but not awful. He's got a big CE right on his crotch, which is very distracting when you're looking at him straight on, because you can just see it there. It's just kind of weird. But the rest of the stuff is on the bottom. I guess they didn't have another good spot to put it, but I would have put it right there on his tuchus. That's me. Slight little bounciness to the tail, but he's actually a pretty rigid plastic. Like, he's, I mean, you're having to tug on a little bit to get some movement out of there, so interesting. It looks like his arms move. There's actually joints there, or at least it's connected to the body there, but I don't think it actually moves. I think that's just where the parts are glued in. So, yeah. Pretty nice on Blip. As far as I remember, I can't remember the kids' names. I always want to say Zan and Jaina. But those were the Wonder Twins, if I remember right. They had Gleek with them. I don't remember Blip being quite as annoying as Gleek. So, pretty cool little addition there. It would be cool if we actually got the Ghost Twins. I don't freaking remember their names, but I will try to look it up and put that down in the little yellow space in the bottom where I put everything that I can't think of. So, Space Ghost here is actually not bad. He's not awesome, but he's not bad. He you know, generally looks like Space Ghost, kind of, sort of a smile, I guess, there. Smile / grimace. Not exactly sure what's going on with the face, but it's kind of a smile, I guess. Maybe. Nice little flourishes there on the gauntlet. You know, his little buttons that he's supposed to press, and the Space Ghost symbol here on his chest, very Batman-like. His wavy cape, I like the way they did the big like swoosh patterns on the bottom, very classic for the look of the character, very cool. But I mean, overall, Space Ghost design isn't terribly complicated. You know, it's just a basic, it's a body, and it's got a couple little accents, like the gauntlets and the cowl and the cape here. So nothing like real crazy there. The cape is made of a very, very tough plastic, like super duper rigid. Like, it's actually really hard to bend it. I mean, I'm putting like quite a bit of force on that to get it to move like that. It's nowhere near the kind of, I guess, I want to say quality of DCUC capes, but it's up to you if you want to consider it quality. because some people may like the really thick capes, but I like to have much more movement. I mean, it hinders the backward motion and stuff. So anyway, as far as looks, you know, the musculature is simple, but it's nicely designed for the character, so it works for me. I'm cool with it. You know, the pegs are showing in the shoulders, elbows, wrists, knees, ankles, pegs in the hips, everything. So you do get to see a lot of the articulation, but the important thing to remember throughout this entire review is that this guy was $10. And that's his MSRP. I mean, like, BBTS is selling him for like 17, but the guy is supposed to be on shelves for about $10. So that's the important thing to remember, because they really did try to go for like a DCUC type of feel with the character, but obviously they got to fit in that price skew. So there are certain things that were cut, and we'll talk about those right now, because it's generally articulation. His head is limited to a swivel, which I do find unfortunate, because I think it would have been very easy to put a ball joint at the base of the neck and still had that range of motion, like down here in his chest, so it didn't break up the sculpt at all, but they opted, like Jazwares often does, to go with the swivel, which is a bummer. We've got swivel hinges in the shoulders, so they go way up. Very nice. And they would go all the way around, except the cape blocks a lot of the motion in the arms, especially, as I said, going back. You can't do a whole lot going back. But they do go up to the sides very nicely. No swivel biceps. That's the first cut that they had to make, I would guess, which is unfortunate because his right hand is posed to touch the buttons on his left hand, but you cannot swivel the arm over to do so. So that's a huge bummer for this guy. It definitely limits some of his posability there. We've got hinges in the elbows, which don't go 90 degrees, but not bad, you know, pretty close. The next weird part is that there's no swivels in the tops of the gloves here, which would be the next place you expect it to move. Nothing there, and nothing in the wrist because there's a hinge there. Why any company would go with a hinge over a swivel for a wrist is beyond me. That's just weird. Maybe in the case of like Spider-Man, but definitely not for a character like this. We've got a hinge in the torso, so kind of loose there, but you know, not bad motion. You get it forward about that far, and again, the cape blocks it from going too far back, but you get a little motion in there. Swivel waist, kind of loose there too. Hips are HDCUC style, so they actually go very far forward. They go very far back, because the butt doesn't hinder them that much, which is nice. And they do hinge out to the side. Pretty good. You know, not bad. Dig it. Swivels in the tops of the thighs here, just like DCUC. Hinges at the knees. So not quite 90 degrees there, but not bad. The ankles are interesting because they go forward very slightly. Like just a little bit, just like that. You know, not that he needs like super deep stances for that, but only a little bit forward. But they cut this big chunk out of the back of his ankle, so that his ankles go way back, like huge back, like perfectly straight back. So I guess they're intending for like flying poses, which works because he is a space ghost, so he does fly a lot. But it's interesting that they would do that and then not include any kind of stand for him. So, the overall problem with this guy is just that, there we go. The overall problem with this guy is just that he's a $10 toy. He's a nice figure, honestly. I mean, like, all his parts are decent, but it's the quality that kind of hurts him in the long run. Well, let me put in real quick Mr. John Jones, and you can see the difference pretty much immediately. Just, I mean, in terms of size, for one, John, he's a little bit bigger than some DCUC maybe, but he's definitely got scale on this guy, and he still is supposed to be a 6-inch figure, you know. But just in terms of quality, the look, the articulation, everything all together, this one I think I paid $14 or $15 for, which admittedly is a lot for a 6-inch figure, but that's the state of the world these days. But I mean, if you just get close up and you really start looking at it, you know, the quality of the paint is better on this guy by far. The joints are tighter. You know, the sculpt, I can give you a lot of points on sculpt because this guy is supposed to be based on a cartoon that didn't have a whole lot of detail. But in terms of just the overall quality, I mean, the cape, they definitely put time and thought into how he was going to move, you know. So really, it's just QC that holds this guy back. Just the decisions they decided to go with to cut corners. I mean, if you look really closely, let me get John out of the way here, or Jean as he is on the cartoon series. if you look at like his Space Ghost there, you see there's a big piece of white where the red has been like flecked off. You see the yellow is missing there. You turn his head, you see some yellow has already come off in his head. We've got black splotches on the side here. Not terribly bad on the belt or anything, but not perfectly clean lines here. I mean, the paint is very thick. It's globby. On the back here, you'll see there's a lot of like nicks and stuff in the paint job. It's a lot of little things that make this guy seem not awesome. But you still, like I said, got to remember, this guy was $10. $10 price-wise, value-wise for what you get, $10, kind of still a good deal, I gotta say. If you can find him for $10, I would say pick him up. You will probably have to do, because I feel these joints are very loose, you're probably going to have to do a little work on the joints to make sure that they stay tight over time, maybe the super glue trick, or some people use, what is it, Future with Future floor polish or something. But as far as like what a 6-inch figure should be these days, he's definitely not up to par. But as I said, price-wise, he fits the value. So I would have personally definitely paid $15 up to $20 if I thought that this was a good Space Ghost figure, like with full articulation and everything, maybe some swappable hands. Wrist articulation is key for a character who shoots stuff out of his wrists. I mean, come on. So that's huge, but for $10, yeah, still a pretty solid deal. The extra work you'll have to do may be a pain in the butt, but you know, it's not the worst figure in the world. That's for darn sure. If he came with a desk, that would have been pretty cool too. Because I, like most people, liked Space Ghost when I was a kid. You know, pretty awesome. But when it comes to why I love Space Ghost, it's because of Cartoon Planet and Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I mean, those shows were just awesome and way ahead of their time in terms of what they were trying to do. If it weren't for shows like that, we wouldn't have Adult Swim like we do today. So pay homage, get the figure. Let me know what you think. If you do have this figure, I'd really like to know what you think. Because he is kind of a mixed bag of sorts, you know, decent but not awesome, but price is pretty great. So tell me, what do you guys think? Is it okay to buy a figure who's a little scaled down in terms of quality and paintwork and things like that if the price is right, or would you always pay a higher price for a better figure? Just throw your answers down in the box below. If you have any other questions or comments about the figure, I'd be glad to answer them. Toss them in the box below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. Thanks again for 500 subscribers. I love you guys. And that's it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.